This is Alternate History 100. Welcome to the class.
Good morning. I have here a piece of 1970s technology. It's amazing how back then they would slap a handle on something and call it portable even if it weighed 45 pounds. I think my arm is now an inch longer than it was. And now I can reach the bell cord even if I'm standing mid-aisle on a crowded bus. Ding! Now I know who's here on merit alone. Let me give you a look at this thing. Anybody know what this is?
It looks like a tape recorder.
Very good. Give the lady a mood ring and a pet rock. A reel-to-reel tape recorder. Looks like a museum piece to you, but 50 years ago, this thing was state-of-the-art. And it was at the center of what was possibly the greatest political scandal of all time, Watergate. Let me walk you through how that scandal unfolded in our world. The year was 1972, and the election was approaching. Richard Nixon was seeking a second term. He had done pretty well with his first term, founding the Environmental Protection Agency, opening diplomatic relations with Communist China, bringing North Vietnam to serious peace talks, and presiding over the moon landing. All good, right? Things were looking pretty solid for a second term. But here's where things went all cattywampus. I like that word. And no, Sheldon Cooper did not make it up. On June 17, 1972, 5 men linked to the Committee to Re-elect the President, acronym CREEP. Who thought of that? They were caught breaking into the offices of the Democratic National Committee to plant listening devices. The Nixon White House tried to hide its connection to these men, but 2 reporters from the Washington Post, Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, dug into the story like raccoons going through your trash. Their findings led to congressional hearings that uncovered the depths of Nixon's involvement in the cover-up. And when the smoke from all that had cleared and Nixon knew he was facing impeachment, he took the unprecedented step of resigning from office. But that's our world. Over there, the break-in didn't happen. Maybe somebody said, "Gee, Davy, I don't think we should do this." I didn't think you would get that joke. Ask your grandparents. Whatever the reason, no one tried to bug the Democratic headquarters. And here's how things went in a world without that incident. There as here, the 1972 election was a landslide. Nixon whipped Democrat George McGovern like egg whites for a lemon meringue pie. I understand they have that in the cafeteria today. Get some before it's gone. Nixon's second term began with a negotiated end to the Vietnam War that preserved the Saigon government. The troops came home and there was peace with honor. A nice start, right? But he had so many other issues to deal with. Creeping inflation, rising unemployment, an energy crisis triggered by an Arab oil embargo. That glorious economy of the 1960s disappeared faster than the lemon meringue pie will at lunchtime today. And even without Watergate, he still had a scandal when his vice president, Spiro Agnew, was forced out on charges of tax evasion and allegations of bribery. You think that's bad? It gets worse. In January 1975, the UN troops sitting on the DMZ between North and South Vietnam pulled out, and the Hanoi government immediately violated the treaty they had signed. Nixon bit his lip, knowing there was nothing to be done. In his later memoirs, he said that in those final days of April 1975, when Saigon fell, he had the worst insomnia he had ever experienced. And oh yeah, there were 2 attempts on his life in September 1975. He must have been really glad that he couldn't run again. The Republicans needed a new candidate for 1976, and Vice President Gerald Ford, who had replaced Agnew, stepped forward. But his support was not universal. Former California Governor Ronald Reagan made a strong challenge. The convention in Kansas City was a knockdown, drag-out brawl between the two men. There as here, Ford came out ahead, but only by the narrowest of margins. Some wanted Ronald Reagan to be Ford's running mate, but Reagan refused the offer. Ford went on to face Jimmy Carter in the election, and there as here, he was defeated. Carter served one term, just like here, and then Ronald Reagan came in 1980. So everything kind of went the same way as it did in our world. What's the difference? 1. There Nixon did not resign in disgrace. He is ranked much higher among presidents than he is in our world. 2. Gerald Ford never got to be president over there. He is remembered primarily as the only vice president who was never elected to the office. That makes him little more than a tough question on Jeopardy. I'll take vice presidents for 1,000, Ken. 3. This is the big one. That world is a lot less jaded. Their public trust in government wasn't destroyed like ours was. And over there, every scandal is not automatically tagged with the suffix "gate." That's where I want you to concentrate your research. Dig into the materials I've brought back and write 1,000 words comparing and contrasting the mood of the two worlds. Are they better off in their innocence than we are in our cynicism? Or was it perhaps a good thing for us in the long run? Did our world experience a loss or an awakening? For me, the sad thing about Watergate is that it didn't have to happen. As I already said, Nixon won the 1972 election in one of the biggest landslides ever. He didn't need any illegal tactics. He's like the A student who cheats on an exam to get an A+, only to get caught and wind up with an F. Contemplate that as you write your paper. Class dismissed. Go get yourself some pie. Hi, I'm Gary Wheeler. Alternate History 100 is a labor of love with the twin goals of entertaining you and making you think. If you like what you heard today, please hit the subscribe button, give us a like, and tell your friends about us. Your word of mouth can really help this channel grow. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode. Until then, keep thinking and make some history of your own.
The preceding was a work of fiction and should not be taken as actual history.